Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, welcome everybody. Here we are, Baruch Hashem, for our pre-Sukkos Farbringen. We are doing this as a part of our systematic Avodah initiative, which means we have a program where everybody reads a page a day of 60 days from Reisim and Jacobson, and they prepare themselves throughout Elul and Tishrei for all of the upcoming Yamim Tovim. They also do personal Avodah. They work on themselves on a day-to-day basis, because sometimes we come to Rosh Hashanah and we're like, oh, right, that whole tshuva thing I was supposed to do during Elul. But here it's broken up into daily readings, piece by piece, something to work on and think about and grow through. So as part of the incentive, we help people by providing them a journal and by providing them with prizes. And if I bring in, we usually do every 2 weeks, but this year we've just been overflowing with brachos. So we've done every single week, basically. And we'd like to congratulate everyone who earned their prize. I'll just make that announcement. The prize for today is a collapsible Negelwasser cup.
Wow. That's brilliant.
It's we thought it makes sense for Sukkos as you're like coming in and out of your wherever you're meant to go. So some people travel, some people travel downstairs to their basement, to their sukkah, wherever they are. So we thought this was a great prize for today. We were, oh, hold on one second. I sent it to the wrong. Okay, our winners for today are Shelby Aronson, Ariella Zuckerman. Oh, wait 1 second. If my phone rebooted, so if I don't have your married last name, I apologize. Ariella Zuckerman, Rachel Greenglass, Tamar Flamer, Adina Lapine, Esther Citron, Esther Malka Cohen, Rita Cohen, Chaim Matasaf from Mahershkovik, Bela Kalandarova, Gula Notik, Itagrevich, Joanna Klauba. Okay, perfect. If I missed your name, please let me know. And please, after the Farbringen, come on over to the front table and pick up your prize. Now, with that said, I want to introduce our speaker for today. I am always looking for wonderful women in the community. And I had the wonderful Sukkos to join with several Living Chassidus members in the program Seder Nashim from Leman Yilmedu, where we learn halachos throughout the entire year. This past 5 months, my gosh, was it 5 months?
I think it was like 4.5.
Woo! This past very long time, we've been learning Hilchos Shabbos with Mrs. Samuels, and I had we just finished Mazel Tov.
We just had our CM before.
We just had our CM, yes. And I had the wonderful success of meeting an incredible person. So all I could do was ask her if she would share herself with us. So here we are with Mrs. Samuels.
Thank you. Feelings are mutual, that's for sure.
If you want to, can you clip it onto your
Sure.
shirt,
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which way. Is it good?
Yeah.
Hi everyone. A good yantif, a good yar. Let's just go up and down and see who we're bringing with today. Some of you I know, some of you I know your face, but not your name. Most of you I know your faces, but not your names. You're
Adina Lapine.
Adina Lapine. I think I do know you. Yeah. And you?
Rachel Chana Tahir.
Rachel Chana? Tahir. Nice. Esther Rachel. Yeah. Esther Rachel was part of our class, our Shabbos class. Yeah. What's your name? Gula Backer. Nice to meet you. Oh, so you didn't, oh, really?
So you're my teacher.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. Okay. I usually see the faces on Zoom, but oh, you okay. Whatever works. It's like, it's so cool, the program, because you can do whatever works for you, recording, Zoom, in person. And I also ate by me. Shira, right. Hi. Ruta. Hi, Ruta. You are Bela, right?
Yeah.
And you know my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I know you. I knew you.
Sorry, remember.
All right. And you were my
Naomi,
student,
yes.
Naomi. That's right. Nice, Naomi. And you were you're in Mechanech.
Yes.
Your name
I
again is.
remember.
That's right. That's
I know
right.
your daughter and I know your husband.
Right. Beautiful. Okay. And you once came to us on Purim, right?
Yeah. Esther Malka.
Esther Malka, right? Esther, you came with
Esther
Esther Rachel, right?
Esther party.
The Esther party, yeah, for Purim. How appropriate. Okay. So now we're coming. Michal asked me to speak about Sukkos, about Simcha, just like shifting modes from like my roasts and my chicken to a shear. So I didn't have so much time to prepare, but I teach this and I just, will sort of shop around the shelves of what we learned over the past while and share it with you. There's so much to share coming on to Sukkos. Sukkos is not randomly after Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. It's not like, Hashem couldn't have like divided it. So like we don't have to cook everything in 1 month, but it's not about that. It's about, there's a connection between the fact that Sukkos comes 4 days after Yom Kippur. It's not just a random, a random date on the calendar that all the Yom Tovim are sort of bunched together. Sukkos is the sort of the anchoring of all the Avodah of Yom Kippur, and Rosh Hashanah is anchored in Sukkos, as we'll see in the lesson. So to start with, every Yontif has its mitzvah of the day. The mitzvah of the day of Rosh Hashanah is Shofar to crown Hashem as king. The mitzvah of the day of Yom Kippur is fasting, tshuva. And the mitzvahs of the day of Sukkos are Simcha, Daled Minim, and Sukkah. Exactly. So there are 3 mitzvahs that connect to Sukkos. We'll go through each one and share different anecdotes and lessons and halachos, messages of each one. So we get a little bit of everything. So let's start with the first mitzvah, which is Sukkos. Sukkah is the primary, one of the 3 primary mitzvahs of Sukkos. We know the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah is a mitzvah asa midairaisa. The sukkahs teishvu shivas yamim. Sit in your sukkah for 7 days. Women are not obligated to sit in the sukkah al pi halacha because it's a positive commandment with a time frame. Mitzvah asa shazman grama, and therefore women are exempt from sukkah. But if a woman sits in a sukkah, I give my girls a multiple choice. Does she get the reward and benefit? Yes, no, or of course? Of course. Of course. We should look to add light. Of course we get the benefit. We don't have to if there's 10 men and 10 women and there's only 10 spots, so the men sit in the sukkah. But if there's room for us, we should look as much as possible to be in the sukkah, and we get the benefit and the mitzvah of being in the sukkah. As the Rabbeim explained, there's the strong godly light called Makifin Debina that is in our sukkah, and we want to take it in as much as possible. So of course we get the mitzvah. We know our minhag in Chabad, it's the halacha, the basic halachas of sukkah is that for a shahakal ha'etz and hadama, you don't have to sit in the sukkah, a man. Hamitzta'er pater min hasukkah. If the sitting in the sukkah causes you tsar, like the weather is bad, you are exempt from sitting in the sukkah. This is for men, which means a man doesn't have to wait 3 hours to get to his destination, to the amusement park with the kids, to eat his apple in the sukkah there. He could eat it in the car. He doesn't have to drink his Coca-Cola outside. Doesn't have to run down 6 flights of stairs to drink his orange juice. He could stay in his kitchen and drink his orange juice. Halachically, he's 100% okay with that. Okay, but with doing that. And also if it's raining. If it's raining, besides the first night of Sukkot, which is the strongest mitzvah aseh, besides the first night of Sukkot, a man does not have to eat outside in the rain. He's completely exempt. We, minhag Chabad is, we are very careful, exceedingly careful, to eat in the sukkah, even for those foods that we don't have to eat in the sukkah for, and even if the weather is bad. Halacha actually calls somebody who does not eat in the sukkah, eats in the sukkah when he doesn't have to, a chassid shaiteh, sort of a foolish chassid. So the Rebbe Rashab said, better to call me, I'd rather be called a chassid shaiteh, but not give up sitting in a sukkah, which means call me whatever you want, but I will not give up the mitzvah of sitting in a sukkah. That's how dear Hasidim hold this mitzvah. And we'll do a very interesting sikha on that in a few moments about the dearness with which we keep the sukkah. We know the nice sukkah, the decorations of the sukkah. If you go to other neighborhoods, my kids were in Borough Park the other day. They're selling lulavim and esregim, and they're selling decorations. Here, we're not selling sukkah decorations because no one's buying sukkah decorations besides the kids' chain arts and crafts that they make, or a picture of the Rebbe. There's nothing hanging in our sukkah. The world is very into nice sukkah. We have to beautify mitzvahs. Where's our nice sukkah? So our nice sukkah, what? Nice. Nai means beautiful. Decorations. Nai, like na'eh, is beautiful. So nice sukkah means sukkah decorations. We don't. Our minhag is not to decorate. And the Rebbeim said that the reason is because the sukkah decorations are the guests that grace our sukkah. And our sukkah decoration is the carefulness with which we keep the mitzvah of sukkah. When a chassid sitting in a sukkah and it's pouring rain going down his back and his food is getting ruined and it's windy and he's with his hood on, there can be no nicer sukkah decoration than that. When someone's running down 6 flights of stairs with his cup of oranges, by the time he gets to the sukkah, there's no oranges left in the cup, but he's drinking a sukkah. That is no more beautiful sukkah decoration than a chassid, than a yid who's doing the mitzvah with the hiddur mitzvah that our Rebbeim, the bar that our Rebbeim set for us. So that is our nice sukkah. If your kid wants to hang up something, it's okay. Like my students ask me, is it okay? Is it an adeira? It's not an adeira, but we don't do it for this reason. It's deeper. It says the pasuk in the Torah that is the source of sukkah is B'sukkos Teishvu Shivas Yamim, and there's a known halacha that we learn from that. Teishvu means to live. Teishvu ke'ein taduru, that whatever we do, taduru, in our dira, in our homes during the year, teishvu, we should do it when we sit in our sukkah. Like if normally at home, after I'm done my meal, I sit and read a book. Read the book in the sukkah. Of course, it should be an appropriate book. If I normally daven in my living room, daven in the sukkah. If I normally have a conversation at home, of course, a proper conversation, do it in the sukkah, which means hang out in the sukkah. Whatever, it's not just we eat and gobble the food and go in, but we should hang out. We should enjoy the light and the holiness of the Makif and Debina. That's the idea of Sukkos. It's a place that we should enjoy being in and appreciate the holiness that's in it. It's interesting that Sukkos, we sit in the sukkah, the Sfarim say, at a time where farmers are very financially independent, like financially secure. There's a time of year that a businessman has the most money in his bank account, after a certain time of year, after he paid all his bills, he paid all his workers, and now he has the most money, or it was after the busy season. So he has his money, his bank account is pretty overflowing. It's not on dry at all. It's overflowing. Full time is a time where a farmer's bank account, so to speak, is overflowing. He just came from spring, summer, where we filled the silos with the crops grew in abundance. And now the farmer is very financially comfortable in the fall time. He's very secure financially. That's precisely when we go out and sit in the sukkah, at a time when we're specifically financially secure, to show that with all our financial security, Hashem is a zanim mefranis. We go out to the elements, out to the open, where we're sort of vulnerable. At home, you're comfortable. Outside, you're vulnerable. To show that at the end of the day, with all the money a person has, Hashem is a zanim mefranis lakal. Hashem is the one who provides and gives a true security, financial and other security. We mentioned before that Sukkos comes after Yom Kippur. It's not random. There's so many sichas and maimarim on it. We did the Avodah throughout Elul. Shuvat Tfilat Tzedakah. Rosh Hashanah, we crowned Hashem as King. We connected him by blowing the shofar. Asar Simei Tshuva and the Avodah that comes with it. Yom Kippur and the Avodah that comes with it. The Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. The 5 levels of our Neshama got intimately connected with Hashem. When finishing with Ne'ilah, when we and Hashem were locked in together in the most close way, not locked out, locked in. That's Ne'ilah. And the highest time where we connected in worked so hard to connect to the Eibishter, and the Eibishter reciprocated and gave us an amazing year, stamped us for a wonderful year. And Hashem is so pleased with our Avodah. We're pleased with each other. Hashem, when you're happy with someone, you love what they're doing, you just hug them. That's a sukkah. It's a Hashem's hug. It's a chibuk. It's Hashem's hug that he hugs us with. The 4 walls of the sukkah are the hug, the loving hug that Hashem embraces us with, because coming on the heels of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So of course it's connected. Sukkot is so connected to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's like the climax and the result of our Avodah Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur come to a head on Sukkot. with our chibuk. So of course we want to be in Hashem's embrace as much as possible. We have the Oshpizim that visit us every day in the sukkah. So it's the regular Oshpizim like Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe. There's different opinions of who it is, but I think I always, it's one of my mental blocks. I can never know the order, but let's look. Yes. Yeah, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, David. Yosef comes after. That's right. So it's Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron. Thank you, Esther Rachel. Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, David, and the Rebbe added Shlomo HaMelech. Right, and Mashiach is Simchas Torah, and then is Shmini Atzeres. Yes. So there's a lot of, there's like the whole shach of Atari on that. Like there's different opinions. It's a good question. I have to look into that. They correspond to the Sphira. So there's a lot of Chassidus on this, and then there's a Chassidish Shpizim that come with the regular Shpizim, the Baal Shem Tov, through the Frierdiker Rebbe, and then Simchas Torah is the Rebbe's day. Now, every single day, the Shpizim come to our sukkah. Just the guests of honor on that day are the respective ones, like Avram and the Baal Shem Tov are the first day. Yitzchak and the Mag, they come together. They're all there, but the one is the leader, like sort of the guest of honor on that specific day. So we could discuss any Shpiz any day, like you're not off because they're all there. It's just a special emphasis on that respective one on that day. Well, there's like, I have a whole book that I forgot to bring in my students. I should have brought the books, have extra booklets. Maybe I'll ask my daughter to bring it across. Every day there's like, we read stories of each Rebbe, and there's like a connection between each of the Oshpizim. Like there's a reason why Avram is the Baal Shem Tov. Like they revealed Getlachkeit to the world. Yitzchak and the Maggid stayed in his place. Yitzchak stayed in his place. It was more like, the thing of digging. So there's very beautiful connections between each of the Oshpizim. It's not random that one is with the other. And the Rebbe also added, I tell this to my students, go to Simchas Beis HaShe'eva. The Rebbe said, the Oshpizin escort us to Simchas Beis HaShe'eva. They're not just with us in the sukkah, they escort us when we go to Simchas Beis HaShe'eva. So imagine we have such holy escorts to act appropriately. Simchas Beis HaShe'eva is, I said, what's the translation? It doesn't mean dance. Well, it means happiness, the happiness of the drawing of the water. Shafta mayim b'sasain. You draw water with happiness. That's the drawing of the water on Sukkos. Every single yantif, we always poured wine over the karbanis. On Sukkos, we poured water in addition to wine. So the whole procession of the water drawing, with the kaihanim going and the chatzaitz being blown and torches and somersaults and dancing and festivities. It says not a courtyard in Yerushalayim didn't reflect the light of the She'eva. It was a tremendous, tremendous source of rejoicing. Both going there and back, and they poured the water. And we drew the water with sasa and with such festivities. And that's why Misha Laira Simchas Beis HaShe'eva. If you didn't see Simchas Beis HaShe'eva, Laira Simcha Miyamav, you haven't not seen true Simcha. So what's the whole thing of She'eva? Just in a nutshell, the Sicha of the She'eva. What's the big deal? We drew water in addition to wine. I mean, very nice, but like such festivities. So just in a nutshell, what's the reason for the Ushafta Mayim B'Sasai, this great joy of the drawing of the water on Sukkos? Because wine is like the Cadillac of all drinks. It's flavorful, it's tasty. Hello. It's flavorful, it's tasty. That represents doing mitzvahs because I understand. It's tasty to me. I get it, I understand it, I appreciate it. Water is a flavorless drink. It's not tasty. It's important, it's vital, but it's not tasty. That represents doing mitzvahs because I don't understand the reason. Only because Hashem said so. Hashem, who is unlimited, told me to do it. That's why I'm doing it. The reason I don't understand so well, but I do it because Hashem said to do it. And that's why drawing the water is such a call for rejoicing. I'm doing the mitzvah only because Hashem, who is unlimited, told me. And therefore, the benefit I get from the mitzvah, the joy and the reward is also unlimited. When you do a mitzvah, because you understand, so it's limited. The benefit of it and the joy of it is limited it's limited because my limited brain understands it. But when I'm doing a mitzvah, because Hashem said, Hashem was unlimited, so the benefit, I'm tapping into the unlimited. And that's why the joy is so boundless by Simchas Beis HaShe'eva, because it's Ushafta Mayim. There's no reason why I'm doing it only because Hashem said. I'm tapping into something way greater than my intellect when I'm doing a mitzvah because I don't understand. Yaina got his nevuah, Nineveh. he got his nevuah. We just did this by Simchas Pesach She'eva. To go and tell Ninveh, I brought Ninveh Nepeches. This was by Simchas Pesach She'eva. They didn't sleep the whole Simchas Pesach She'eva. They said one would, when they would dance, one would like sleep on the shoulder of the one before them, like we go out to set and Grand Heights. It reminds me of like, now I see like for real, you can't just see guys falling asleep on the shoulder of the guy in front of them. It's like, just like no one wants to lose out on these precious hours that we're just drawing so much inspiration and so much simcha. It's like we're drawing reservoirs for the whole year. It's not like, okay, so I didn't go. I'm so tired. Like, this is like, imagine like there's treasures out there, like just gather them. You'll sleep later. Yeah, this is going to keep you going for a long time to come. So yes, we are tired. No one's denying it's not tiring, but it's a very beautiful tired. And that's why we have to keep on drawing. This Yantif is called Chag HaAsif. Why is Sukkot called Chag HaAsif? Technically, it's Asif because it's a time, like we said, the farmers are drawing all their financial income, all their crops, and they're storing it. A time of before the winter of gathering. But the Gashmias reflects the Ruchnias, just like farmers gather in the physical sense. Also in the Ruchnias sense, we are gathering. Just gather buckets and barrels. Keep on gathering. Keep on. There's so much in this month. Just bend down and pick it up. All you need is an empty barrel. All you need is an empty cup and the desire to want to do it. And then you have reservoirs and reservoirs to keep you going through the long winter days. So you're, day in, day out, monotonous schedule. It's a time of asif that we just should draw. What an amazing time we're in now. Yeah.
If we don't see the actual, welcome to there, but other years, we're not seeing the water being poured. So where's the simcha coming from? Just because it's non-simcha.
Well, first of all, it's like what we read about the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. So first of all, to commemorate that time, to remember, and most importantly, it's to look forward, to show our emunah, our yearning. That's the main diak. Good question. Sukkah, just an interesting thing on Sukkah. The Sukkah Samach Chaf Hey. That's the halacha of it has to have at least 2.5 walls, which is the Hey. It has 3 walls is better, which is the Chaf, and 4 walls is ideal, which is the Samach. Nice Sukkah we did. It says that Sukkah is like a glimmer of the Sukkah of Yemaisa Mashiach, like Harachamanu Yakim Lanu as Sukkah David Hanaifelas. We say that in benching, sitting in the Sukkah is a glimmer of, it's a taste. We get a taste into the Sukkah of Mashiach, into the times of Mashiach. The second mitzvah of Sukkot is Lulav and Esrog. So the second mitzvah of the day is Lulav and Esrog. We said Yom Kippur and Sukkot are very connected. It's not randomly at one after the other. We just got forgiveness. Hashem just showed the world. We just showed the world Hashem has forgiven the Jewish nation, and we are now raising our victory instead of the armor that an army has. We're raising in victory. We're raising our lulav and esrog as a sign of victory, that we were victorious. Napoleon's march, and we got a forgiveness. Hashem has forgiven the Jewish nation. We don't have the lulav is like instead of the rifle. The esrog is instead of the bullets, and the knives and weapons are the hadasim, and instead of the hadasim and weapons are instead of the knives and weapons. And we say this in Tehillim. I think it's from Shabbos davening also. Az yiranenu kol atze ya'ar kiva Hashem l'shpait. Then all the trees will rejoice to Hashem because Hashem has judged us favorably. What is this referring to? The arba minim that we bench, the trees, which are the arba minim that we bench on Rosh Hashanah, on Sukkot, is because kiba Hashem l'shpait, Hashem has judged us favorably, and these are weapons of victory that we are waving. Nanuim, when we're waving them, it's like the weapons of victory, the flag of victory that the winning team waves when they win. These are the Nanuim, and the Lulav and Esrog is that flag of victory, the victory flag after the incredible avodah of Elul, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur.
Right. Can you repeat what each one represents?
Yeah, so the lulav is instead of the lulav is instead of the rifle. Yes, the esrog is the bullets. Yeah, and hadasim and arabbis are the knives, like the weapons. No, hadasim and arabbis are like the spears and knives.
If you're talking about the
flag of victory? Where does the flag of Sukkos start? Like the minute of kids waving flags and stuff.
You know, I can't tell you for sure, but based on what I learned and know, I would say it's very much connected. It's also a flag of victory. It's so brilliantly intertwined, all the Tayvim. That's a good question, but I would imagine, I could guess. Like I said, I don't know for sure, but I would guess that it's definitely connected to the same thing as the Lulav and Esrog. Also, the Lulav and Esrog is a couple of halachas that we learned from the original. Lulav and Esrog is a mitzvah midaraisa. Also, it's from the pasuk L'kachtem lachem b'yom harishon pri eitz hadar kapos tamarim ba'anaf eitz avos va'arvei nachal. And you should take for yourselves on the first day, starting from Tesvav, kapos tamarim the lulav, kapos tamarim pri eitz hadar the esrog. Va'anaf eitz avos is the hadassim. Va'arvei nachal is the arabais. So there's a few halachas, there's tons of halachas learned from this pasuk, but a couple main ones that the lulav and esrog has to belong to you. L'kachtem lachem. Lachem means it has to be mine. That's why if someone is you're using someone else's lulav and esrog, you give it to them and say, matana amanas lahachzir. This is a present in order for you to give it back, which means a present makes it mine. Right now it's mine. You're giving to me as a present. A present is, I have ownership over a present. So if let's say you're not home and my girls went to seminary, they would like, they sort of like borrowed it from someone. And actually my daughter's like seminary. They said like, I hope we did the mitzvahs of Sukkos. Like they once went to Bachram who were doing the same, like, could you do time with us? We don't have a lulav and esrog. Like, you're like alone, single girls. Like, so like you said, say matana amanas lahachzir, and then it's yours. So no, every day.
Mostly the first day.
No, but you have to say matana amanas. If you take a lulav and to bench, you should say, the person giving it, you should say that. Because it has to be lachem.
Does a wife do that first?
No, so a wife and a husband, okay, officially when a husband buys it, he buys it for the family, but like my husband always tells me, I'm like, like.
That's what we always do. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And I'm like,
You want to say to be safe, but really, I mean, he's buying it for the family. So I know my husband does tell that to me and the kids when he gives it to them to bench. So that it's like purely yours. Lachem, it's lachem. Also, we learned from that, it says, which is a little esrog, okay. Then it says, kapos tamarim, which is the lulav. And then it says, ve'anaf eitz avos, ve'arvei nachal with the vav hachibor. What halacha do we learn from that? That the lulav, that the rabbis and hadasim have to be attached to the lulav. You would think based on this, you take 4 minim and you just sort of hold them, like a bundle, 4 together. But the fact that it says ve'anaf eitz avos, ve'arvei nachal, that it has to definitely be attached because it comes right after kapos tamarim. Kapos tamarim, the lulav, ve'anaf eitz avos, ve'arvei nachal has to be attached, not to the esrog but to the lulav. We also learned that the rabbis have to have 2 because arvei nachal is 2 words and anaf eitz avos is 3 words. So we have 3 hadassim and 2 arabais. The Rebbe's lulav had 36 hadassim. Arabais are 2 always. Hadassim you could add. So there were 36 hadassim on the Rebbe's lulav, and they were switched very often because. Oh yeah! Oh wow! Okay. There's also, it's all Kabbalah. They were switched because they were used, like the Rebbe's esrog got very brown. It went through so many hands every single day. Like the men had never benched their own lulav and esrog. It was just for their wife and kids. They always benched the Rebbe's. They went to get a ticket. You went to get a ticket like 6, 7 in the morning. A ticket because there was you didn't want to wait like on Union in Brooklyn till online like this. You'd be waiting like on President in Brooklyn to get it was long lines. So you got your ticket. The guy and the man in charge told you, okay, this ticket means that you could come back at 8:30 and you'll be your turn 8:30 instead of waiting till 8:30. So you went home, you did your thing, and you came back. When it was closer to the time, the lines were long. So. Well, no, right. So what happened was Rabbi Meir Harlig, who's Yartzeit, who just passed away this past summer, he was a very, very Kabbalist all type of chassid. Like he was Mekusha to the Rebbe, like for no glamour, like just to be Mekusha to the Rebbe. Like he didn't have this title like anyone else. Pasha like Emesa Kabbalist all. and he hung around the Rebbe all the time. Like, the kids, I was watching the shleishim, I was in awe. Like, this is like off the tangent, but I just thought he deserves like this credit. Like his boys, they lived on our block. His boy said the father never missed a Shachos Mincha Ma'ariv with the Rebbe, which means he never went away. Or if they had to buy suits for Yontif, he didn't drive Rabbi Harlan. Remember, they would go in the taxi or they would go to the train. So they would go, let's say Shachos is 10, Minchas 3, and Ma'ariv was either 7:45 or 9:30. So it had to be between the three lights, and like it had to be exactly after Shachos, so they're back by Mincha. If they went after Mincha, exactly after Mincha, so they're back by Ma'ariv. One of the sons was describing once how his father was like feeding the taxi driver with cash, like to drive quicker, because like they were stuck in, like you feed the fish. He's like, here's another $10. Like, quick, just like I have to get back to Mincha. I was like, I was nispal, like, to not to miss a single tefillah. Like, he had a good reason. His father with kids, he's buying his kids suits. They would go to downtown Brooklyn to buy the kids suits, and he did not miss a single, such a Baal Kabbalas, like lahafli, like something special. So anyway, Rebbe Meir Harlik, they said he was around the Rebbe often. So the Rebbe sort of, he got like this, he inherited, or like he sort of got this job because he was in the right place at the right time to take the Rebbe's lulav and esrog from him every single sukkah's morning and to bring it to the big sukkah. And he was in charge of making sure, benching it with everyone, making sure that it gets back in one piece.
So he was there for hours?
So he was there for hours. Yes, every day of Sukkot was his supposed to stand for hours. In the end, in the later years, they made like a little sort of like cubicle inside the sukkah. It's like towards the back on the right. If you come into the big sukkah, it's like in the back right-hand corner. It's like a little cubicle. And I'll tell you why that cubicle is special in a minute. So Rabbi Harlig would come in the morning, bench, and then the Rebbe took it back for Nanuim, for Hallel, and then they gave it back to Rabbi Harlig, and he continued benching with everyone until everyone was done benching. So there were hundreds of people that bench on a daily basis. It wasn't women. Women did Hoshana Rabbah on the Rebbe's lulav and esrog. And touch the men, yeah. No, the men. I would have assumed so, but let me double check. I know the women. I remember I have vivid memories. We would go the whole entire like Eastern Park show was like lines like that, like lady and the mothers like on edge. Hoshana Rabbah was such a busy day, so we're standing there waiting for the Rebbe's lulav and esrog. Rabbi Harlig came in Tafshin and Beis as usual to get his lulav and esrog to bench, and the Rebbe didn't give it to him. He's like, what's going on? The Rebbe himself walked with the lulav and esrog to the sukkah, to the corner. And that cubicle is where the Rebbe stood, so it's a very special place. If you see how the sukkah is, you enter the sukkah in the corner, all the way towards Tashlach. On the right side, there's a little cubicle. The Rebbe stood there literally for 6-7 hours at least. Shachos was daven that day, probably at 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, for 6-7 hours. He stood and he watched every single person bench lulav and esrog. He gave them the lulav and esrog, said amen to the bracha, listen to the bracha. I know some people were saying, like, the Rebbe standing here in front of you, they forgot the bracha, they said the wrong bracha, they held it in the wrong hand. Like, imagine Rebbe standing, like, I know from dollars, when I went to get dollars, I never ever spoke to the Rebbe or said it's my birthday, because when you got to the Rebbe, your knees were like jelly and your tongue was like frozen. It was awesome. Like, I watched videos. This man spoke in front of the Rebbe. How in the world did he speak in front of the Rebbe? I couldn't get a word out of my mouth. And he's speaking as if nothing, like, who spoke in front of the Rebbe? But some people did have the guts, as you see in the video, to speak in front of the Rebbe. I couldn't. And many other people like me also. It was just so awesome. So to say a whole bracha in front of the Rebbe, that's like, wow. Was I there? Well, it was only men. It wasn't women. My husband went. I was just married then. So yeah. So yeah, it was an awesome, and right that year was Chav Zayin Adar. Chav Zayin Adar was a few months later. People realized after that this was something that there was Lamaila. The Rebbe did it for a reason. He stood himself and did it for a reason. Good Yantif, thank you for coming. We know that the lulav and esrog represent the different types of Jews. Lulav has a taste, not a smell. That's a date tree. A date tastes good, doesn't smell good, doesn't smell anything particular. It's a Jew who learns Torah and doesn't do and excels in learning Torah and not necessarily in doing mitzvahs. An esrog has a taste and a smell, represents a Jew who excels in learning Torah and mitzvahs. Hadassim have a smell and no taste. It represents a Jew who represents a Jew who excels in mitzvahs but not Torah, and a Rabbis represent a Jew, no taste, no smell, who doesn't excel in Torah or in mitzvahs.
Smell is mitzvah.
Yeah, smell is mitzvahs and taste is Torah. Yeah, because taste is like flavor, tam, like das, tuf tam v'das, like understanding. Yeah, and we take all these four yidden and we gather them together and we make a bracha. Barcheinu Avinu, Hashem benches us when we're united. Kulanu ke'echad. And also we're coming from Yom Kippur. Kolchan ke'echad, yasu aguda achas, v'yechapru elu al elu. Everyone as one should make one big group and one will forgive for the other. We're taking all four Jews. I have good things that you don't have. You have pluses that I don't have. We're uniting all four Jews, and I'm forgiving for your Averis, you're forgiving for my Averis, because we're all one big body. And that's the beauty of unity, that what I'm missing, you make up for, and when you're missing, I make up for, because we're all united. And that's what it does, that we sort of like finalize that forgiveness of Yom Kippur by uniting all Jews. And if one Jew wasn't worthy, the other Jew makes up for his not worthiness and he becomes worthy. It also represents the different parts of our body. We're taking every fiber of our being and serving Hashem and making a bracha. The spine is the lulav, all the bones. The heart is the esrog. The hadassah are the eyes, and the arabis are the mouth. We're uniting our entire being to serve Hashem. That's another aspect of the lulav and esrog. We know also the lulav. We say the bracha asher kedishana b'mtzesav etzivanu al netilas lulav. Why not al netilas esrog? That's really the more expensive one, the one that has a taste and smell, the one that's the most beautiful. Why is it on the bracha dafka on the lulav? Oh, the lulav has taste and not a smell. Because it's technical. Like we're thinking like Hasidic, like deep. Like I'm gonna tell you a real nigla answer. And the answer is this is a nigla, pure nigla. It's yes, because it's the tallest. And also it has majority wins. It has the most minim on it. The esrog is alone. It has the most united minim on it. It's united with other minim. This also shows the power of unity. It has the hadassah rabbis and the lulav. That's a technical. There's I'm sure deeper, but I'm giving you the halachic nigla reason. I know, but like used to like when we hear like this, we're like, what? That's it. Okay, I'm sure there's reasons. And my daughter I was preparing. My daughter was like, Ma, she was like reading. She loves that book. Not a day to recall. It's you know, the blue book. It's called Days of All Days. Yeah, it's an incredible book, really. So she was reading it. She said, oh, she's just reading. She chanced upon a page and like Igris, you open it up. She goes, no, look what it says here. It says that Rosh Hashanah is like the Kabbalah's panim. Yom Kippur is like the chuppah, and Sukkos is like the wedding celebration. You heard that? Oh, it says wedding celebration. So it's like it's all connected. It's all one big avodah that's very, very much connected one with the other.
You know, we're the photographer.
Yeah, it's getting more exciting. Yeah, yeah. So simcha, and the third mitzvah of Sukkos is simcha. So there's tons to say on simcha. What Zman Simchaseinu? That's right. What are we rejoicing? We're rejoicing that Hashem benched us for a good year. That's what Zman Simchaseinu is. Hashem just sealed. We worked through Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Hashem sealed us and stamped us for a good year. We burst out in song, and as soon as Yom Kippur is over, the Rebbe already says, "Good yantif, good yantif, good yantif." You see the breaking through of the tshuva, the more serious aspect, right away. Right straight into the simcha without even a break. That connection of that happiness, that thankfulness right after we get the forgiveness. And even on tshuva, like you know that tshuva is a serious situation, but a chassid, by the breakthrough of chassidus is that tshuva by a chassid is mitaych simcha. That used to be tshuva was only a bitter situation. It was like mariros and crying. What's a breakthrough of Chassidus? Chai Elul. Chai Elul is Alter Rebbe's and Baal Shem Tov's birthday, and that represents what Chassidus is all about. Elul represents tshuva, and Chai represents simcha. It brings simcha into tshuva. It brings that tshuva need not be done with mariras. It could be done with, and it should be done with happiness. Chai simcha into Elul into tshuva, and we see by Napoleon's march You notice the Rebbe danced by Napoleon's March. Okay, the Simchas Torah is unparalleled, but Napoleon's March, the Rebbe danced much more. He danced, actually physically danced much more than by Simchas Torah. Simchas Torah, the Rebbe would clap a lot, and it's a tremendously happy time. But Simchas Torah, Napoleon's March, the Rebbe actually stood on a chair like a teenager and jumped up and down like a 15-year-old, literally actually dancing, not just standing and clapping, but dancing. This is like the breakthrough, like the shifting from the tshuva, and then the happy outcome that just bursting forth into immediate simcha because of the happy outcome. So we see the dancing even more in a certain aspect by Napoleon's March than we do on Simchas Torah, because it's that it's the time of the shifting, like the emerging, like, when the baby's born, it's like that's like the height, and then, like, of course you're happy your whole life with the baby, with your child, but it's that emerging from like the pain and that to the relief. Like, no one knows what relief is until no, I have to have. I said nobody knows what the word relief means until you have a baby. Like, nobody, and that's exactly yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Like, the relief is like incredible, and that's the dancing of Napoleon's March. And of course, it doesn't stop; it continues to Simchas Pesach Evet, Simchas Torah, absolutely. So that's Simcha. So on Simcha, we could talk for hours and hours. Just a few things on Simcha, just because we're going into Zman Simcha Seinu. Simcha has the same letters as Machshava, where a person's frame of mind, when a person has a happy frame of mind, when his frame of mind is healthy, that's when he's truly happy. A happy person is not necessarily someone who just jumps up and down and cracks jokes. A happy person is someone who has inner serenity, who is happy. He has inner joy. He has inner peace. That's true happiness. Not necessarily someone who's giggling the whole day. It's Yimachshava. It's a very inner thing. Simcha is also what? Simcha Paretz Geder. That's right. Simcha breaks boundaries. Ain't Simcha Kataras Hasfekas. There's no greater happiness than when you're not in doubt. You know what the most annoying or like most not liberating feeling is when, like, you have to make a decision. This, that. It's a killer. It's like you're not happy. You're very stressed out. The minute I made that decision, I know this is the right thing. You're like free. It's true inner happiness, and that's why a from Jew is the happiest, because there's no doubt. Like, you're not like if you don't have Torah. Should I do this? Should I wear this? Should I go here? Should I eat this? With Torah mitzvahs, we have a guide. This is what we have to do. It's clear. There's clarity, and when there's clarity, there's happiness. Also, Simcha has Sameach. The same letters, Tzaddik and Sin, are interchangeable. When a person's growing in a growth mindset, that's a happy mindset. When a person's giving, he's happy. The happiest people are people who give. If your whole life is, what could this person do for me? What could that person do for me? And why is this person not helping me? That person, that's opposite of Simcha. Simcha is when you're growing, you're giving, you're reaching out. That brings real Simcha when you're helping other people. Simcha is also chayes, energy, something alive. Nice, alive, something alive. Nice as atzmai. It carries itself. That's why a dead person is much heavier than an alive person, because chay, nice as atzmai. You're light-footed. When you're alive, you're just segate, and you're light-footed, and there's simcha. Like the same thing, when you have Torah mitzvahs, you connect to Hashem, then you're truly happy because there's no doubt. And then you're truly alive, and nice atzmai. It's a light-hearted lifestyle. Now, and as far as Simcha, the height of Sukkos is Simchas Torah, and that is we're rejoicing over the completing. Oh, I forgot this. Now, this I must say, the completing of the Torah cycle, the learning of the Torah cycle, and that's what we're rejoicing. But it's like the height; it's that reservoir that we're tapping into for the whole year. Before we just do that Simcha part with the reservoir, I just want to say this very quick but very important Sikha, and I'm sure you know the Sikha, but I feel like it's worthwhile to repeat it. We said before that the halacha exempts those who are in pain from sleeping in a sukkah, from being in a sukkah, and those who, and if you're eating certain foods like ha'etz, shahakal, and adama. So there's a question. Mechabad Chasidim, we are very, very careful, exceedingly careful. We're exceedingly careful to eat in a sukkah no matter what. To the extent where people fly 12 hours and don't take drinks, which they're totally allowed to. Luckily, 100% they're allowed to. Men are allowed to. We're exceedingly careful to eat in a sukkah, but sleeping in a sukkah, we don't do that. Sleeping in a sukkah, it says clear halacha, you have to sleep in a sukkah. It's like a clear din in Shulchan Aruch. Eating in a sukkah, you don't have to eat if it's raining, and you don't have to eat if you're eating certain foods. And that we're exceedingly careful with. Explain that. That sounds a little bit mixed up and backwards. So in a well-known tzikha, the Rebbe asks these questions and answers it as follows. We'll put this in as short a nutshell as possible. Okay, I sort of like got it down to an art. I taught it 4 times today, so I should know. But even then, I still don't have. I have it almost down to an art. Okay, so let's take each thing separate. So eating in a sukkah. Why do we eat? Why are we so exceedingly careful? We don't have to eat that orange in the sukkah or drink that seltzer in the sukkah. Why are we so exceedingly careful? Because a chassid goes l'fnim mishuras hadin. A chassid looks to do more, not less. A chassid looks to bring in more light, not to just tell me exactly what I have to do, but a chassid goes above and beyond the letter of the law. And B, because the Rebbe was exceedingly careful, and we are exceedingly careful to eat in the sukkah. Okay, so now that takes care of why we are exceedingly careful to eat. But we still have a question. Well, that says the Rebbe didn't sleep a whole sukkah because, yeah, exactly, yeah. Right, and right, okay, exactly, right. So he didn't sleep a whole sukkah, right? That's a separate thing, but a very important point that you brought up. That's right. It's well known from the people who are around the Rebbe, and I think the Rebbe even said it to people.
I think it's in the mosque also.
It's in the mosque, right? Could be sure. Like the Rebbe has. It's sort of a known fact, yeah. Rabbi Groner mentions it in the book.
Sure.
I saw it somewhere recently. Okay, could be. I know my grandfather was one of the Rebbe's secretaries, and the Rebbe he also told us the Rebbe did not sleep on Sukkos. Rabbi Nissim Mendel. So that's one aspect. So we understand why we don't. Sleeping. How do you run away from that? It's a clear halacha. Halacha also says, as we mentioned before, that hamitzta'er patur min hasukkah. He who is pained is exempt from being in the sukkah. Okay, and therefore, like we said, if it's bad weather, you don't have to. Our Rabbeim, were exempt from being in the sukkah because it pained them, exempt from sleeping in a sukkah because it caused them pain to sleep in the sukkah. What kind of pain? Not because in Russia it was freezing cold sukkahs. It really was. That didn't faze the Rabbeim, the below zero temperatures. It's because, like you said, the Makif and Debina, the Mittel Rebbe explained there's a very strong, powerful, godly light in the sukkah on Sukkos called Makif and Debina. And the Rabbeim were so attuned in such a real, tangible way to this holiness, they were not able to bring themselves to sleeping in the sukkah to the extent where it caused them physical pain to even think about sleeping in the sukkah. And on those grounds, they were halachically 100% exempt from sleeping in the sukkah because it caused them real pain. So our Rabbeim were completely exempt under this clear halacha. Now, yeah, exactly. What about me and you? I wish I was on that level where I clearly was in tune to the holiness, where I physically felt like uncomfortable to sleep in the sukkah, and not just uncomfortable, but pain. So that brings us to the next point. So why me and you? So the Rebbe doesn't. Okay, beautiful, very beautiful. So the reason that applies to the Rebbe doesn't apply to me and you. Like we're not tapped into the holiness. So what's the part with the chassidim? What makes a chassid exempt? So there's a few steps in here. So first of all, we're exempt because the Rebbe is exempt. We're exempt. The Rebbe does, we do, which means minhag Rebbe Seinu b'Yadeinu. We're also exempt. Okay. A second point, we do have tsar. We do have pain. It says hamitzta'er patur min hasukkah. If you're pained, you're exempt from the sukkah. Yes, we do have pain. A different kind of pain, like sort of like pain in the reverse. pain, like you said, the pain that the Rebbe has is because he can't sleep in Makif and Davina. The pain that I have is I'm the Rebbe's chassid. I'm the kusher to the Rebbe with my heart and soul. I try to live according to the Rebbe, and I'm such a Rebbe young. I'm so coarse and desensitized that it doesn't bother me. Like, not bother me. I'm not pained the same way the Rebbe's pain. Like, I'm not feeling this Makif and Davina, and I'm so connected. Like, my mother is so into Achmasas Archim, and I'm her beloved daughter, and I'm not. I don't like that. So I'd rather just eat alone. I'm like, what your mother put her kishkas into you, and you're so connected to her, and it bothers me that she's so into that mitzvah, and me, I don't like that. It's not my favorite mitzvah, and to her, it's like her whole heart and soul. How can it be? That's what's causing us the pain. I'm a chassid, so makosher to the Rebbe, and I am not pained the way the Rebbe's pained. It's like pain in the reverse. That I don't feel the Makif and Davina, and I should. I'm not tapped into the holiness, and I should be tapped into the holiness the way the Rebbe's tapped into the holiness. So it's like pain on the reverse side. Then you have another person comes along, the Rebbe takes it a step further. So that's a chassid who knows his faults and knows that he's a Rebbe young and knows that he's coarse sensitized, even though he shouldn't be because he's the Rebbe's chassid, to the extent that he doesn't feel the Makif and Davina. Okay, that's one level. That's already a level. Then there's another chassid, like, oh, hi. Hello, hi. And there's another chassid, he's between me and the lamppost. I'm not at Rebbe's level. Okay, whatever. The Rebbe's wonderful, but like, it doesn't bother me that I'm not pained like Rebbe's pained because, like, I'm a simple person. I'm not a tzaddikus. It doesn't bother me that I'm not pained. The level before was someone who it bothers me profusely that I'm not feeling what the Rebbe's feeling. The other chassid is like, I have news for you. It's not bothering me that I'm not feeling what the Rebbe's feeling because I'm a simple person. I'm not on the level, so I'm not on the level. I'm not a tzaddik. So that person's pain, he said, at least it's not bothering him that he's not bothered like the Rebbe, but it's bothering that he's letting the Rebbe down, like that the Rebbe's doing something and cares about something, he's letting the Rebbe down. It's like, for example, like that, just like out of just basic decency, like, for example, someone, let's say I'm not into tznius. I fried out, I chilled out. I'm not, but I come to my parents' house out of just decency. Like, I don't appreciate tznius anymore. Whatever, I have my things. I'm not, but at least, I'm out of respect. I'm dressing tznius. So here, at least, the tzar of this chassid is that the Rebbe is pained and I'm not pained, and I don't care that I'm not pained, but at least this chassid is pained that he's not pained. Like, it's bothering him that it's not bothering. Like, why don't I care? I don't even care that I don't care. It's like the Rebbe takes like to the next level that he's so grub. Like, there's a Hayam that says, "Dervas is niderik and grub, herzach nicht on the niderikkeit and grubkeit." Sometimes someone is so grub and so coarse that he doesn't even realize his grubkeit and coarseness, and that's the pain that this lower level chassid is feeling.
He's so grub, he doesn't even feel that pain.
Okay, so like, when I was learning, I'm like, I asked my husband, so like exactly what you asked me. He said like, that's already like a different ballpark. Like, we're talking here like people in the ballpark. That person will get to the ballpark soon, but we're talking here someone that's at least semi, something. That person needs to come to the ballpark.
I think even that like with Yosef, you'd always find something to
a favor, right?
It's like, here the Rebbe's opening it up, even for people that don't even realize, they don't,
right? It's someone on the lower level.
They don't realize they're meant to be sleeping with something to begin with.
Right.
Even they somehow deep inside.
Right. It's a sikh you have to learn inside, really. Yeah.
I always had a question about Hayayim, where it's like Niderik and Grub, and then it reverses the words, because I know the Rebbe, every word.
Dervas is Niderik and Grub. I just copied it. I hope I copied it right. I have a very bad handwriting. Hektet on the Grub. I didn't notice it was opposite. The Grubkeit or Niderikkeit. That's how it's. You mean why it's the opposite order?
I looked at that, there was a very particular which.
It's an interesting question. I could ask.
I think
It's probably from the Friedrich Rebbe.
Yeah, this is from it's a Hayam Yom. It was a recent. Why switch it?
The question would be, where does it come from the Friedrich Rebbe, and then find out.
Right.
Comes from Sikha or something
Right.
between the grabs.
Yeah.
And some translations they don't switch it. I think the English one they do.
Oh, could be the English one they do, but in the original, I copied it from the original.
A French one and they don't switch it, but in Yiddish it's switched.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you for that point. It's a very important point. So I'm letting the Rebbe down. So the whole point of the Sikha is the Hiskashras. It's a very strong Hiskashras Sikha. The whole reason we don't sleep in a Sukkah is pure Hiskashras, because we don't mehalt it by that level at this point. But it's because well, people who are not Hasidim, that's the halacha. You're supposed to sleep in a Sukkah. Yeah. Well, everyone is, it's like either a chassid or you're not a chassid yet, right? Those are the two categories. Those are the two categories. But in general, people say she's such a, is this a positive statement? Any of my students probably remember me saying this, like disconnected to this sikha has lessons like for not just sukkahs, for like in general, like how we should look at things. Like, don't say I'm not on the level. So like, okay, I can go to sleep. I can continue sinning because I'm not on the level. You're such a tzaddikus. Is that a positive statement?
Depends who it's coming from.
Okay, that's the correct answer. I mean, on the outside, yeah, it's like such a wonderful statement, such a tzaddikus. But a lot of times, like you said, depends where it's coming from. Like, what's the motive? In more cases than not, at least what I see, when someone tells you you're such a tzaddikus, usually it's because I know that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing wrong, blatantly wrong. She's doing the right thing. If I'm going to label her a tzaddikus, then it puts me in the normal category. So there's nothing wrong with me, which means she's like above and beyond. Like, you can't expect everyone to be a tzaddikus. Like, that's like, we're regular people. So I know that she's doing the right thing and I'm doing the wrong thing. So by me calling her a tzaddikus, it sort of gives me a OU stamp of approval that I'm in the regular category. And she's like, above the norm, like you can't expect that from people to be. It's a tzaddikus. So you have to always see like where the nuance is, and sometimes it's well-intentioned, but many times it's coming from, oh, you're such a tzaddikus. So the tzaddikus continues davening, she continues, babbling a lashon hara. She should take out her siddur now and daven like the tzaddikus, but she's not. She just labeled her a tzaddikus, and now she's like, Bart, like you say, Yid has a neshama. They have that feeling of guilt where like I know I should be davening like her, but I'm not. So let me just call it a tzaddikus, so I don't have that much guilt because I'm just regular. So in general, we have to, whatever we do should be with the purpose of how it's improving my avodas Hashem. Anytime we speak to someone or label someone, always see where it's coming from. It should always be coming from a place that's going to make me a better yid. Is it going to add to my yirah shamayim? Is it going to add, like whatever people like, talk dvarim b'teilim, like, is this add, like you need to know this piece of information? Is it adding to your yirah shamayim? Like, is it making you a better Jew? Is it making the atmosphere a warmer atmosphere? Always ask that to ourselves. Another few things we just mentioned Simchas Torah, which is the climax of Sukkos, and a couple of things on Hoshana Rabbah's Gemar Chitam Hadin. That it makes good on what we were judged for in Yom Kippur for a good year. It makes good on the good judgment. There's an interesting thing on Shmini Atzeres. We say Mashiv Haruach Umayrid Hageshem, where we're benching, where we're thanking Hashem for bringing the rain. The rainy season is being ushered in. Mashiv Haruach, you're bringing the wind, and you're bringing down the rain. Okay. So there's an interesting explanation on that, talking about Chag HaAsif. It's a time that we gather buckets and barrels. We should take advantage of every single moment of this incredible month. It's our reservoir for the whole year. So Mashav HaRuach, take the ruchnius of this incredibly ruchniistic month of Tishrei, Umayrid HaGeshem, and anchor it to Gashmias. Take it, bring it down. We have to pack our bags, Yaakov Halach Ladarkai, pack our bags and bring it down to the everyday life, so that when we're on this drab day in Teves, or this, monotonous day in Cheshvan, where it's like, the day in, day out, take out your shopping bag, the Mashav HaRuach, and use it. The happiness of Sukkos is a reservoir for a whole year. That's why we can never get enough of going to Simchas Pesach She'eva, never get enough of joining Hakafas, never get enough of our bring-ins, like what we're doing now, because these are reservoirs that we're packing. I always read this to my students at the end of Tishrei, but not all Hasidim who came to Liadi to spend the holidays at the Alter Rebbe were learned enough to comprehend his profound Maimarim. One Shmini Atzeres, a simple laborer, approached the Rebbe after having toasted l'chaim several times, because otherwise you don't approach the Rebbe with such a question, as customary in the joyous festival. Please understand, Rebbe, he said with uncharacteristic boldness, because he was drunk. I cannot grasp your teachings about the lofty nature of the day. Would you kindly explain to me in a simplified manner that I too could appreciate this loftiness of Simchas Torah and Shmini Atzeres? I don't understand these deep Maimarim. So the Rebbe made it very simple for him. The Rebbe rubbed his forehead and gently replied, surely you are familiar with the preparation of tea essence. You know, tea essence, you put a bunch of tea bags, we learned in halacha, right? And tea bags in water, and then and it's like enough to make a ton of cups of tea. Although it's contained in a small bottle, a few drops of its content mixed daily with hot water can go a long way. In this vein, the joyful experience of Sukkos, Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah, is much like the concentrated tea essence. It verily imbues a Jew with joy to last the whole year. So it's not just one day. This joy is our reservoir. It's our tea bag. It's our tea essence. We're going to be pouring from this an entire year to imbue simcha and inspiration an entire year. Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak of Lubavitch once put it in simple terms. So the Alter Rebbe gave the example of tea bags. The Friedrich Rebbe took it a step further and said that Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah is much like going shopping at the market. We acquire all sorts of goods, and when we return home, we simply unpack the bags and put the merchandise to use. Explained the Lubavitch Rebbe, during the month of Tishrei, every Jew is given ample merchandise from which to draw sustenance and happiness a whole year. The joy of Shmini Atzeres means to hold back, because Hashem wants us to stay back and rejoice more. It also means a receptacle. It could be translated as a receptacle. It gathers the wealth of inspiration that we got an entire month. It's like that suitcase. Atzeres is a suitcase, and enables us to bring it home to our mundane lives. You merely need to open the packages and apply the inspiration to our daily conduct. And you cannot apply inspiration. If you don't have what to give, you can't give. And that's with Tishrei. It gives us the ability to have what to give. And that's why we should keep unpacking those bags, so we have constantly to give ourselves, to give others, to give our friends, our family, our extended family here. We have a beautiful extended family here. We need to have to give. And that's what Tishrei is all about, the essence, the tea essence, the shopping bags, the Mashav HaRuach HaMered HaGeshem. That's why the Rebbe Rashab says, the 48 hours of Shmini Atzeres Simchas Torah is a time that it's so precious. We have to take this opportunity to gather buckets and barrels of treasures. There's buckets and barrels of treasures to be gathered. How? Through dancing, through simcha. May we take these buckets and barrels of treasures and live Tishrei a whole year. Tishrei should be an entire year. The inspiration and the happiness, the buckets and barrels. So let's keep on filling our buckets. And it doesn't use cups and l'chaim cups. There's buckets and barrels. So let's take out those big buckets and fill them to the brim and overflowing. And let the year be a year of overflowing buckets and barrels of simcha. Whoever needs whatever refuah should have refuah. Whoever needs a shidduch should find their shidduchim. Whoever needs children should have children, health, wealth, clarity, wisdom. We should have good gatherings, good friendships, and all with harchava and bracha, ugly die, buckets and barrels of brachas for a whole year. L'chaim v'lebracha. And we should have Mashiach now, the Geula Amitis V'Ashleima, the ultimate good. L'chaim v'lebracha.
Do they happen automatically, or they just, or like,
We usually tap into it.
You said that the brachas happen. That's the age-old question. How do you,
there's like buckets and buckets that you get on people's Sarah, or
so how? The Rebbe said through dancing, through simcha.
throughout the year.
No, so throughout the year, though, that's our tea essence. We just made very strong tea essence. We just packed overflowing shopping bags. Just like you come back from the market, that's the Rebbe told this person, this chassid. You come back from the market and you unpack it. You don't unpack it when you shop. When you're shopping, you're just shopping. You shop till you drop, right? You just shop. Then you come home, and that's when you take, oh, this shirt, hey, this thing. That's when you really are enjoying your shopping. Now, imagine like you have the story with the king, like go to the treasure houses. No one's thinking whether it's treasure time. Let's just pack. When you go home, wow, look at this time. Look at this treasure. That's when you really enjoying it. So the more we packed it in during this opportune time, the more we're going to enjoy our diamonds when we come home.
How do we pack it if we're not going? Did you ask that for not going?
If we're not going what?
Yeah, how do we unpack it? Like, how do you, like, you know,
How do you
it's a great
pack it if you're
muscle.
not
What's the?
So that's the thing. If a person celebrates Tishrei, is like lives with the Rebbe, then it overflows to the whole year. It's not just, it doesn't just stay in Tishrei. I don't know, here, living in Crown Heights, like that's an easy question to answer. Like Ashreinu that we live here in Crown Heights. There's always like that Tishrei, mini Tishrei feel. There's living Chassidus, there's Shiurim, there's, even if you're home, there's, you know, online, there's like a whole reservoir of like just inspiration. Like you don't know where to turn first. Like Shiurim, podcasts, things like you could, like I go to sleep like listening to Shiurim in my ears. Like it's just incredible. Like you never had that. You have to like sit at a shiur. Just living with the Rebbe is the way. Continue, like, you know, one of the things the Rebbe gives us brachas for on every Yom Kippur is va'atayv, good gatherings, and that's really the key to everything. What a Hasidic Farbrengen could accomplish, nothing could accomplish. That the good gatherings, and what does mean good gatherings? What does that mean? It means the wisdom to join gatherings. Because when you join Farbrengens like this is what keeps each SAI, we each inspire each other, and we each help each other tap into those reservoirs. So that's why good friendships, good gatherings are so important. And that's why living Hasidus is such an important thing. It's like such a vital thing. Like you feel bad for the people who are not tapping into that. There's actually a story in one of my booklets about, he writes in the Mishpacha, Ron Eisenman, you know, like he writes every 3 weeks in the Mishpacha, Shul with a View. You ever read his articles?
Yeah.
So Ron Eisenman, Shul with a View. So it was a Sunday. So you want me to read this article to you? Or are you too tired?
Sure.
Okay. It was a Sunday after Simchas Torah, and one of my congregants came over to me and said to me, with a groan, Rabbi, I bet you're happy Yontif is over. You must be overjoyed that your busy season has come to an end, and now you don't have to deal with this whole Yontif thing. You can relax. Aside from the fact, and he's not a Lubavitcher, but Lubavitch is inspiring the whole world. Aside from the fact, learned years ago, there's no such thing as a non-busy season for a Rav. I was taken aback by the question. What did he mean when he said I should be happy Yontif is over? And why the krechts? Are we secretly or not so secretly happy that we don't have to deal with another 3-day Yontif, another chicken to clean, another thing, are we thrilled that we don't have to go out to the sometimes damp, sometimes cold sukkah? Are we overjoyed that all our relatives and in-laws and outlaws have finally gone home? As I stood in front of this man contemplating how to answer him, I recalled a story related to me many years ago. So again, appreciate what Yontif is. Yes, it's hard, but no pain, no gain. Like this is our inspiration. This is our tea essence. So this really focuses, the story he's going to tell us about the krechts. Like the man's like, oh, like the Pesach, the P word. Like, no, it's not. Yes, it's hard, but it's Ashreinu that we have it. So this is like more the krechts part, how we have to view Yontif. An elderly gentleman came to the U.S. from Russia in the 1920s. As he settled into life in America, he decided no matter what, he would never break Shabbos. However, all was not so simple. And he said, this is what he told Rabbi, he told the story to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. This man told the story to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. Rabbi, I soon found employment like most of the Jews in the garment center in the 1920s. Every week on Friday afternoon, the boss would tell the workers, be here tomorrow, Saturday at 8 a.m. I would inform the boss that I do not work on Shabbos. The boss, who was also Jewish, would growl and say, if you don't come in Shabbos, you're fired. And indeed, every week I would come home and tell my family, es ist schwer zu sein a Yid. It's difficult to be a Yid. And I announced I had been fired again, but I'm not going to work. Es ist schwer zu sein a Yid. After a number of years, and during this time, I was never machal Shabbos once. I finally found employment without having to work on Shabbos, and my wife and I raised our family. Unfortunately, all of my children went off the path, and none of them keep Shabbos anymore. One day, I told Rabbi Moshe Feinstein and asked him, how is it that none of my children are Shomer Shabbos? After all, I was Meiser Nefesh to keep Shabbos in the hardest times. Rabbi Moshe listened, right? Carefully and quietly to what I had to say and asked me just one question. When you said to your family every Friday when you were fired, Es ist schwer zu sein a Yid, did you say it mit a shmeichel or mit a krechts? Did you say it with a smile or with a, oh, it's so hard to be a Yid. I told Reb Moshe that I said it mit a krechts. I did it. He did the right thing, but mit a krechts. And again, this man deserves so much credit. We're not belittling what he did. But Moshe looked at me and said as gently as possible, that is what I thought. Since you came home at that krechts, it was obvious to your children that despite your observance of Shabbos, your heart was really aching and in pain. Your children understood your true feelings about Shabbos. Yes, you're keeping it, but mit that krechts, and therefore left Shabbos. If you came home with a big smile and announced Baruch Hashem, which is not easy to do, I was fired because I love Shabbos. Your children would have learned to love Shabbos too. And again, we can't judge this man for the great Mesiras Nefesh he had. I looked at Rabbi Moshe with the heavy heart and admitted he was correct. And now I looked at the fellow standing near me, said Rabbi Eisenman, and said quietly, I'm not happy. I wish the entire year was a Yontif. And that's our Avaida, that our entire year should be a Yontif. When we look at Yontif, the message should be to our friends, to our siblings, to our family, to our colleagues, that yes, it's work. Yontif is work. We're running, we're going, but it should be with a smile. And we're able to enjoy Yontif a whole year. It's able to be Yontif for us a whole year. And again, easier said than done. It's like we said, it's an Avaida, and Avaida is not something like this. It takes work. And the more we encourage each other and we're united and we gather together and we inspire each other, the better we will be at living Yontif a whole year. May we live Yontif a whole year and have a Yontif-tic year, a year of everything good, and may we see the Rebbe with our physical eyes. Enjoy Yontif.
Two traditions, two mechanech. One is that we thank our speaker with a gift. So I want to thank you so much for coming out on such a busy night and busy time.
Thank you. That's so nice.
And
I actually wanted to buy myself one. Now I have it.
There's a few choice of colors, so you can choose whichever one you'd like.
Oh, colors?
Yeah, there's different colors. I'll show you on the table.
Yeah, the navy's. Oh, what is that? Tan color?
Like
Lilac.
Lilac.
It's a hard choice.
Oh my goodness. Ain't Simcha Kataras as fake as let me get it. I'll take the lilac.
Okay.
There's no greater happiness than the removal of doubts. Like when you made a decision and I know what's right and wrong, then I'm happy.
And I also
it actually is. Purple one of my colors. I hardly wear it, but it's one of my colors. See, I'm wearing black.
We made a book of daily thoughts for each day of Elul and Tishrei.
Very special.
Ruth is actually the one who worked on it.
Oh wow!
So you know the author.
Wow! Impressive.
From all of us, and we want to thank you so much.
This is beautiful. Thank you.
And the last one is, if you don't mind, I'm going to come behind you. You don't have to move. Very good. We take a selfie with our speaker. Are you up for a picture with us?
Okay.
Okay.
You do so many special things. How can I say no to you?
Here, we're taking a selfie.
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for arranging. Thank you for coming. Good night. A good Yontif to everyone.
Good Yontif.
If anyone needs a place for Yontif to eat, you're welcome. Our doors are open. You're welcome to come. I don't have my cell number. Ruth, I can give you my cell number.
Yeah.
Oh, you have my number? Yeah. Nechama Samuels. No, that's Nechama. No. Yeah, there's.
By the way,
everyone mixes that up.
Okay,
She's
okay.
Nechama Dina. I'm Nechama.
and you both have a picture of yourselves with the Rebbe.
Yes. That's interesting. She got a dime. I remember that picture clearly. Yeah, they have a wave to her. I was there. We have a wave to her and gave her a dime. And Nechama Hirsch Samuels. She's a cousin. So, and I went up, me and her were chosen to get dimes from the Rebbe. And when there's a rally, we were like in 5th grade, I think, or something. And we learned like extra lines of Tanya, so we got to get dimes and give it out to our class. So that's my.
I'll tell you,
Wow,
because I
that's
asked her, I was
That's
texting,
me.
I thought I was texting you, so I was like, hey, can I come for showers? And she's like, oh, we don't live in Crown Heights. I'm like,
Oh, she lives. I know
I'm
she
like,
lives
wait,
in
what?
near Crown Heights. She lives. Her husband has a shul in. I always forget. In not.